Welcome to Jewel in the Crown, Football Brisbane's podcast about women's football. I'm here with Dr. G, all rugged up, down at Annerley, what do you call this, Elder Oval?
Elder Oval, yeah, Annerley Recreation Football Club. It's hard to tell. There's recreation club, there's football club signs, yes. We're here because our silent producer's sick, we decided to go on the road. And of course, being at Annerley, who's better to have as a guest
than the East coach, Geoff Hurford. How are you, Geoff?
Good, guys. How are we?
Very good. Excellent, mate. Hey, look, thanks for coming on.
No
we thought we'd get you on because we're going to have a bit of a review. I know there's still a couple of outstanding games, but pretty much the first round's done, first 13 games, so we're going to have a bit of a review of what's happening and get your thoughts on the second round and who might be in the finals and who might take out the league.
Looking forward to it. It should be good.
It should be good. It's been an exciting league so far.
And do you want the news? The news of the day.
What's that?
Guess who the coach of Redlands is from this week?
Who's that?
Emily Gilnick.
Emily Gilnick?
Oh, wow.
She took over on Monday.
Really?
Took the session Monday, and I presume she's taking it tonight. So,
now, speaking of Emily Gilnick, she was formerly of the Raw. Has there been any confirmation on that other Raw appointee to the Elite Women's Committee?
No. We don't know. We haven't heard, but she was supposed to be on it, wasn't she?
I'm not sure. They were going to have someone, but yes.
So possibly.
Is Emily going to play as well as coach or just coach?
I haven't got the answer to that question because Red Riding didn't answer me.
Because isn't she playing in the Women's Raw in the under-15 NPL competition?
Well, if she's available to play, she would be, yeah. So I don't know whether she's going to play for Redlands or not. So could be some surprises out there. So the last round might have Emily out there and Lorena out there playing for Pride.
Well, and also I assume that is Emily. What coaching certification do these NPL coaches need to have to be NPL coaches?
Level C.
For men?
For women. Yeah. For men it's B and for women it's C. Yeah. Working towards a B.
Okay. And so I should, Lorena, this was her first coaching gig, so I assume she doesn't have the qualification. I don't know about Emily and her qualifications. So
no, they often put elite players through different programs to get them qualified. But if someone else is coaching in NPL, so guys coaching, they should have a woman as an assistant. That's part of the process. So the idea is to slowly transition Geoff and I out of coaching.
Well, you were transitioning.
That's fine.
I've already been transitioned out. That's a new way of putting it.
Yep, transition.
Speaking of Redlands and NPL,
right?
The review committee's been formed, as we mentioned. Mm-hmm. So what do we think is going to happen there, Geoff? Any insights? Well, what would you like to see happen?
I'd like to see the top 7 of the current structure be given NPL licences, I guess. And then I'd hope another 3 would come on board and be a 10-team competition for next year, and have a 10-team competition for the next tier down. So they actually start and finish at the same time, and not what we've got at the moment.
Well, given that nobody knew that at the start of the year, would it be a better option just to ask who wants to be in it? And then if you finish in the top 7, perhaps get weighted a little bit more in favour if you're playing standard and your history, because I mean people like East and the Gap have got that history as successful clubs, which might be more in favour of someone like Taringa or Mitchelton that haven't had that success in previous years.
Yeah, I think that is obviously it's a fair insight. As long as they get it sorted straight away, I think that's the big thing, and we're starting to get to a point now that it needs to be decided so people can work on for the future for next year and the year after. So
I think that's what we said the other week, is it wasn't really so much a matter of what the competition was, but the fact that there was one and this is what it was doing. One of the things I'd like to see happen is I'd like to see the Raw the Raw youth play in that competition in the NPL. So we've got those girls are playing in under 15 NPL.
Yep. Yeah, I agree. I think it's why not bring them in? There's obviously a lot of girls want to try and get into a W League, and it'd be good to play against the calibre of those girls as well. Even the fringe girls from the Raw.
Yeah, well, a lot of the first 11 are all got like overseas contracts and Matildas, and they're all out of the country a lot of the time now.
But the fringe players train with the W League squad all year round, so why wouldn't you want to play against them as well?
You'd want them in. I reckon it'd be great. I reckon it'd be better competition for them than playing under 15s, and you'd get people wanting to get up there.
Yep.
So
it'd make more excitement in the local league. Whenever the local men's teams play against the Raw, even in a friendly or in the cup competition, which will happen soon, there'll be the cup. Canali Cup finalists are playing A-League teams as part of the FFA, whatever it is. That
FFA Cup.
Is that all I was missing? The one word. But that brings excitement into the league. It brings oh wow, A-League team playing. Let's go watch. Even if you don't normally support that team, you'll go and see.
Well, I'd like to see where we go and support the NPL clubs. I think that would be the way to go. Another question for you, Geoff, just without notice. All right. If we end up with an NPL competition, okay, so with the women, we need under 13 girls, under 15 girls, under 17 girls. Should we have a first team and a reserves?
For the top?
For the NPL elite competition. So we have that reserve grade level.
It depends on, you can have that reserve grade level, but I think if you're going to have an under 17s competition, that would be your reserve grade competition.
I wouldn't have both.
I ask it because New South Wales have done it with first reserves and 17s, 15s and 13s. And
do they have two divisions in all those age groups?
Yeah, that was mandatory. They have to have. They got two divisions of 8.
Looking towards the future, without a doubt. But where we sit at the moment, and you find a lot of good quality 17-year-olds are already playing in top teams or in the Brisbane Women's Premier League. So I think it'd be too much of a stretch, especially if you have more or 10 or more teams in the NPL. Where's the quality to come from?
I'm just throwing it out there because I hope the review committee...
They could make it an under-18s with, you're allowed to have 3 or 4 overage players.
I think the age groups are pretty set. There's 13s, 15s and 17s.
Right.
And I agree, though. A lot of 16 to 17-year-olds are playing in the top sides anyway. And certainly Palm Beach and Sunny Coast on the weekend, most of their team was 16. They're already playing top-level football.
Yeah. You'll find a lot of those newer teams that come into the top league. I mean, when Annerley first came in to the Premier League, or the Diamond League, what it was, we had a very young squad. And quite a few of them are still playing with Olympic now. But each team that comes in is just young, usually. You don't get many of those older players into a new team, into the competition, it seems. So, just one of those things.
There were some other games on the weekend, though. We should talk about the SEQ WPL. First game, Geoff. Eastern Suburbs got up over Taringa 2-1. Now, what's surprising here, Greg, is who was leading at half-time?
Jess Marchand scored for Taringa in the 38th minute to make it 1-0 for Taringa at half-time. East Nerves.
So what happened, Geoff?
Taringa obviously came with a game plan, and it was more on the defensive side, which we kind of expected before the game started. After hearing Tegan's report last week as well, so we knew we were up for it, and we needed to be patient with the ball. And we held possession for long periods of time, and I think we just switched off for a brief moment. And Taringa won the ball, went down the other end, and my 2 centre backs weren't close enough, and they got inside the box and. Bang! We were 1-0 down, and that continued until half time, and probably 15 minutes into the second half as well before we got on the score sheet.
67 minute.
Yep. So Tegan Thompson in the 67.
Yeah. Thanks, Trish.
Trish is very good.
Yeah, she writes it all up.
That's great. I mean, with this system, that extra work Trish does, which is above and beyond. It'd be great if every team does it, but they don't have to. We can find out this information. So
we could have a chat to Phil because he's not in either this week.
Yeah, well,
we'll get him on the way out.
Possibly, he's busy. Anyway, and then 86 minute Nicole Quinn scored the winning goal.
Yep.
86. That's leaving it a bit late, Geoff.
Oh, we were patient with the ball, and that's what we needed to be, and that's what I said to the girls at half time. Don't get frustrated. Keep moving the ball around. Something will open up, and I'm sure we're good enough to score 2+ goals to win the game. And we were patient enough. As I said, we held a lot of possession, and we lacked a little bit in the final third. But once we got that first goal, I wasn't overly concerned. I knew that it would come, and it came in the 86th minute. And I don't think Taringa really had that many opportunities in the second half, or actually entered our half for the second half. So it was patient from our girls, and. Taringa did extremely well, don't get me wrong. I think they come with a game plan.
Since about the halfway mark of the season, Kelvin's done
pretty well.
Very well. Considering the team's not that experienced at this level.
Yeah,
they were very well structured.
I did speak to Kelvin, and he did say he dared to dream just for a little while. All right, but yes, he's dashed that. But what I wanted to ask you was, I know Kelvin's quietly confident going into the second round, so they're in that bottom half. But he's quietly confident that he can pick up the ground on 11th place, which is really 4th place in that
Oh, I can't see why they wouldn't. They've got a very good goalkeeper in Denny Harbert, and I think she saved them a fair bit on Friday night. But they were just very well structured defensively. As long as they can get someone to, when they are defensive, obviously transition a little bit quicker than what they did on Friday night, and they have someone up front can hold the ball and put the ball in the back of the net.
So perhaps
I think they'll go really well.
the teams that are just above them on the ladder, in the what's it called, the plate or something?
Plate,
whatever. Yeah, are probably not going to put as much pressure on as the Gaps and the Easts and the Palm Beaches are doing to them. So they may get a little bit more ball possession.
Well, this is interesting because even in the high levels, you see, in the international men's teams that are really good on the counter and defending well, and we'll call Taringa a good defensive side. Can they become the aggressor, the one that needs to score goals? It'll be interesting to see.
That will be the determining factor, I think. As I said, defensively, very well structured, and they made it very hard for us to break them down in the final third, but didn't really have a great deal going forward. So hopefully they can
If they're keeping teams honest, yes, they're at the bottom of the table, but they're showing that they can compete in this level for at least defensively, and it's a great thing. I like that.
And again, what you said before, a lot of these games are close up to half time, close on the scoreboard.
Yeah, without a doubt, yeah.
Right, so
all the teams that we played in the bottom half have really put up a good fight for a good 45, 60 minutes, so you have to be patient to go on and get the win.
The next game was, the Gap at the top of the table took on UQ at the Gap, and the Gap were winners 3-1. Now, the highlights are on the washing line. Have a look. In the first 10-15 from those highlights anyway, it looked like the UQ was all over the Gap. But then the rest of it, geez, it was the Gap. It could have been 7 or 8.
Well, I actually want to ask Geoff, now, did you watch the highlights?
I did watch the highlights and I also got a report.
So, you sent the scouts out there.
No, my wife actually ref the game.
Oh,
well, there you go.
loud, yeah. I noticed that on the thing. Is it Jackie on the appointments?
Yeah.
Is that not a conflict of interest?
No, not at all.
Not at all.
Not at all. She doesn't listen to me whatsoever. So
Fair enough. I mean, it's a bit rich to say there's a conflict of interest to a FIFA badge referee, isn't it?
What I wanted to ask you, though, was you would notice on the highlight, UQ missed a really good opportunity very early on. Okay, and perhaps could have scored very early. And then, like you said, Greg, the Gap missed a heap of chances.
Yeah.
So could those scores really be a lot higher, like in the games? Could we be seeing scores of 7-2, but the games are really not... You think 7-2 is a big thrashing, but often these games are not. It's just that the players don't seem to be taking the chances that are offered to them.
Yeah.
And there was a lot of really good opportunities to score.
There really was on that highlights. I mean, we're only seeing a small section of highlights, but...
Yeah, I think the lack of finishing this year is definitely come into play. There's a lot of chances that teams are creating, but just not putting it in the back of the net. So, if one team actually does that one day,
I think Redlands did it once, didn't they? 10-0 or something against the team. Mitchell, that's right.
They didn't miss anything.
But I'm sure they had another 10 opportunities as well.
Yeah, well, that's probably true. But I mean, yeah. So a big win for the Gap. That keeps them on top of the table. And UQ, a bit disappointing. We heard from Otto's couch.
Yeah. Otto was a little bit disappointed, but he gave credit to the Gap.
Yeah, well, yeah.
So in the second half of the season, Geoff, do you reckon UQ can close that gap? So they're sitting in third at the moment?
Sorry. I'm sure that happens every week and no one says anything.
Oh, I think they can. They've got some tough games at home though. But in saying that, it's very hard to go to UQ on the small and bumpy pitch and play good football. So they've got definitely a good advantage there with their home field.
Get out the niggle, mate. Get out the East niggle over there. You'll get them.
The East niggle.
Actually,
I like it.
The American imports or students going home from the UQ. She played the last game.
The keeper.
No, she's a midfielder.
Was it? I can't remember her name. Sorry. Otto did say it.
Where's Georgie Chapman of late? She didn't play against us, and she didn't play on the weekend.
She's a bit injured, I think.
The knees.
And
we all know the feeling.
Yeah, we do. South West Queensland Thunder took on Souths. They were 2-0 winners, 1-0 at half time. Don't know who scored. Don't know much else about Souths. It looks like they only had 11, but they made a substitution, so they must have had more than 11.
Yeah, Souths are a bit of a surprise packet this year in the fact that I thought they perhaps would have been a little bit better than what the results indicate. They had some really tough games at the start of the year. So they played a lot of the top half of the table early, and I just wonder whether that's knocked the momentum out of them.
It's possible.
Yeah, maybe. When we played them, I thought they were quite good, yet again, for 45 to 60 minutes, but they just lacked that intensity for the full 90. But I didn't expect them to be where they were.
Yeah, so they're probably a little bit disappointed, but they've got something to look forward to in the second half.
Yep. Again,
trying to get into that top 4 of the plate. Southwest Queensland, Geoff, how do you rate their season so far?
Well, I've taken points off us at home.
Yeah.
They didn't take points off me when I was coaching.
They're a good young side.
They are good.
And I rated them, I said to the coach and that they'll pick points up along the way, and I still think that. And I think they're in that bottom 7. I think they're a real chance to beat Mitchie and Power and actually take that plate out.
Well, they did beat Power.
Yeah, they
Yes,
did.
they
At home.
did.
And they beat Mitchie. No, sorry, you beat them.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they've had some. Well, they've beaten some top teams. They beat Sunny Coast at Sunny Coast.
Yeah, and I remember saying after that round 1, I was so glad we'd played them in the first round before they got organised.
Yeah.
And that they were going to cause some problems later in the year.
Well, yeah, so a bit of consistency and they'll be climbing. Speaking of Peninsula Power 7 defeated Western Pride 0, 2-0 at half time, 5 to Britt Whitfield, another 1 to Brianna Watt and Jayla Patton also.
Is that the third time Britt's got 5?
I think it is. I
saw some of this game because they played after the East Power men's game.
All right.
And Britt could have had another 5 in the first
Really?
half. Yeah, this could have gone very, very ugly. She missed a couple of very easy chances for her ability.
So again, it comes back that it's just that opportunity to score has been created, but they're not taking them.
Interesting.
So
next game, Peter.
Next game, Redlands 4, Sunny Coast 2. 1-1 at half time.
Yeah, tight.
Now, Tegan Riding got 3 and Holly Houston got 1. So let me just tell you, I won't read the Red Riding report yet.
Okay.
Because I got a report from Dave Benstead up at Fire. And he said, "Hey Pete, just a few points from Sunday's game for you to compare to Tegan's report."
Good.
So he's getting in early. He said, "In terms of possession, it was an even game, but Redlands always looked dangerous when attacking." Well, you got Tegan Riding up the front, you're going to look dangerous, aren't you?
What are you saying about it looking dangerous, Pete? What are you saying?
Oh, don't start on me now. When Redlands went 3-1 up, it looked as though they could run away with the game. To Fire's credit, they kept going, and a second goal from Gemma Hack kept them in contention.
It said that she wasn't on the score sheet as scoring.
Oh, that's what it says in his report. Last-minute goals secured the game for Redlands. A game that Fire should gain some confidence from, missing 3 key players and fielding a team with 7 players, 16 and under, and only the goalkeeper, Renee Rudder, above 18. And a great experience playing top-quality players, Tegan, plus a couple of others who ultimately were the difference between the sides.
Yep.
So that's what Dave had to say about the game.
Okay.
But let's read the Red Riding report.
Okay.
This week's game against Sunny Coast had interesting pre-game minor controversy.
Oh, really? Oh.
Yeah. The Sunny Coast strip is red, and of course Redlands is red as well, but we were playing in our more often used Chicks in Pink strip in support of breast cancer.
Yep.
So the referees decided that their pink and the red were too close and wanted one of the strips changed.
Well,
I agree with that.
Yep.
Redlands thought it was pretty clear that Sunny Coast was the away team and it was their responsibility to change, but they didn't have an alternate strip.
Now, just to stop there. When Redlands played East wore their white strip though.
Correct.
Why did you guys wear the white strip?
It's something that I'm always a believer of. Orange and red. Never really, I think it's too close, especially at night time. And I always want Redlands to change strips, but they didn't obviously bring theirs, and they were actually wore pink that night anyway. But I always just like to make sure that our players have no excuse of...
So were the referees comfortable with the original strips?
Oh, we didn't. We wore white straight away. Yeah.
Okay, fair enough.
Redlands offered their white away strip to them, but they initially refused to wear it.
Oh.
The stalemate lasted for a while before they turned up on the pitch proudly, in quotes, dressed in the Redlands white strip. So there's a little bit of controversy. She did say that, she didn't put it in the report, but she did say that they even offered to wash it for them.
Oh, wow.
I wouldn't have let them take it home.
You'd never get it back.
So once the game did start, it was a deal of pace and continued. It was a great deal of pace and continued that way for the full game, with the Sunny Coast displaying some good ball skills and a lot of enthusiasm, especially from the younger team members.
Which is all of them.
Yeah, pretty well, apart from the keeper. Redlands opened the scoring in the 25th minute, and this was followed by Sunny Coast in the 39th minute with a shot from outside the box, and 1-1 at half time. Redlands scored again in the 48th minute with a penalty followed by another goal. Oh, sorry, Tegan, with a dot shot, because she always says that. Followed by another goal in the 59th minute before Sunny Coast scored another goal from outside the box in the 78th minute, which was then followed by Redland scoring the final goal in the 88th minute. Did you get all that?
I think so.
Wow.
So they scored right after half time and right at the end. So, as Dave said, a late goal. And Sunny Coast basically scored from outside the box. I remember when we played them, they were shooting from 20 yards a lot.
Mm-hmm.
So it's obviously a tactic. Yeah. And the goals were scored by Holly Houston from the dot shot, and the 3 other goals were scored by me.
I like that. I would always, Tegan, next time you do it, refer to yourself in the third person. Tegan did this. Tegan did that.
No.
Do that. That's good. Yeah, I like that.
All right. So you heard that, Tegan. Redlands fell back into some untidy play with misdirected passes, so possession during the game ended up pretty evenly balanced, and we again allowed ourselves to be placed under pressure on a few occasions. We were not at full strength again with players missing, but it's likely this way for each game we play. Sunny Coast had a defensive structure but still made some penetrating attacking plays.
Okay.
So that's where the setup. The refereeing was average, and he wasn't pulling up some offences for both sides, but wasn't more one-sided, so both teams were affected by his decisions.
Okay.
So he was average, but he was fairly average.
It'd be interesting if Tegan gets Jackie for the Red Riding Report and just,
Oh, that'd be great.
I'll tell her to go to town on it. That'd be great.
There was an unusual high number of handballs during the game that some thought may have warranted more penalties than what was awarded. But after the initial hiccup with the strips, it ended up being a very good, fast game.
Okay.
There you go. So, Geoff, that's Redlands and Sunny Coast. How are you rating Sunny Coast? They're finishing in the top 7, in that 7th spot. A little bit off the pace, maybe?
Yeah, a little bit. But they've got some young players there, and you give them a season or so, and they'll mould together in terms of women's football. I think it's always tough to go to Sunny Coast. It's a long trip. You play early in the morning.
Yep.
I just saw the draw, and I think we play them at 11 o'clock in the morning. So
At the stadium?
At the stadium. So it's they've got some things going for them. So you've got to make sure that you don't underestimate them, or you'll come out on the wrong side of the scoreline.
Yep. And what about Redlands? They've just dropped down that table.
Well, they just climbed over a certain team.
Yes, Greg,
Yeah.
they did.
They're in a battle there with you guys at the
Redlands
moment.
are always a tough side to play, and you really don't know what, especially this season, of what team they're going to put on the park. I saw they had a couple of players that didn't play against us play against Sunny Coast this week. So if they can get the players on the park, they're very dangerous. So it just depends on who plays for them in what week. It depends on how well they go.
Tegan did say that getting that same 11 on the park was problematic all year, and it's probably not going to get any better. So that's something they have to work through.
Yeah. And it's still obviously very competitive. So
when you've got someone like Tegan up front, she's an extremely dangerous striker.
She's
very smart.
quick too, you know.
Yeah, she is very quick. She just makes very smart runs.
Doesn't look
behind the fences. So they're always going to score goals.
Olympic 1, Palm Beach 2. Did you see any of this?
No, I was actually didn't get down to Olympic to watch these games. I came down to Adelaide, just as a side note. World Refugee Day was on. Great day.
I found out who scored for Olympic.
Oh, good.
It's a new international player they got. No find me on list.
No fun on the list. That's terrible.
I know, but why doesn't Phil put them in? Why don't you ask? We're going to ask him.
No, it's all right. Anyway, goals to Deanna Thompson from Palm Beach and Lauren Brown. 1-1 at half-time. And
now,
what have you heard from
this
Gary
was a
French?
very hard game, Gary says, but we expected it to be, as they hadn't given up many goals this season.
I was wrong last week. I said they were the best defensive side. I was wrong. Palm Beach were by 1 goal the best defensive side. So
Pretty
correction. As a sporting journalist, I take pride in issuing corrections when they're necessary.
I'm going to keep you to that. They were organised and deservedly went 1 up. We got back into the game midway through the first half, and Deanna Thompson scored off a great cross from Harriet Withers. And the second half, I thought we were better, and Lauren Brown scored a header off a corner. And Olympic were always dangerous, though, and are a good side. Jeff, how would you run the ruler over Olympic and Palm Beach so far?
Olympic I can't comment on because I actually wasn't at that game when we played them. But looking at the defensive record, obviously they are very, very well drilled in the defensive line, and it'd be very hard to break down. Palm Beach, well, they're quick all over the park. So their form of defence is to attack, and they do a lot of it.
And it works very well for them.
It works extremely well. They've got some very quick wingers, and they play them in. probably 90% of the time. That's where they get most of their attacking raids from, and also their wing backs coming around. So Palm Beach are a quick, very attacking side. If you can stop their wingers from getting the ball, you're well and within the game, that's for sure.
One game you did miss, though.
Did I miss one?
Yep. Annerley took on Mitchelton.
I knew I had that written down.
What did you miss that one for?
Well, accidentally.
Okay, Annerley took on... oh, excuse me. Annerley took on Mitchelton, 1-0 to Annerley at half-time. And then 4-1 winners. Goals, Emma Pittman for Mitchie scored a goal, Meg Ward got a yellow card, and Rebecca Sweeney scored 4 goals for Annerley. That's quite amazing. She's a good striker, but she's not a speed demon like the Palm Beach players or anything. So she needs balls to feed, then she can do some magic and hit a good strike and score some goals. So I'm quite amazed that she scored 4, not because you're bad or anything, Rebecca. You're a great striker.
You are going to struggle to get out of that.
I know, but I am quite amazed that she scored 4. So well done.
Well, I did hear a few reports back from the game.
Yep.
Mitchie, the reports from the Mitchie camp were that they didn't play well at all.
Yep.
Okay, and which obviously they lost 4-1, but they didn't feel they played well.
Mm-hmm.
And the reports I got from the sideline were they didn't play well at all. So I'm not sure how to take that. We talked last week about the momentum that Annerley had going up the ladder, and the momentum Mitchie had going the other way. So Mitchie have gone down to effectively 11th now. I mean, there's only a few points in it.
Yeah.
Right? So, and they've all got to play each other again. So anybody's guess how that top 4 in the plate will finish up. But I suspect that, Power's up and down a little bit.
Yeah.
But Southwest Queensland are improving every time they play. It's where perhaps those are the 2 form sides, I guess, in the bottom half.
Oh, you'd have to throw Mitch in there, and not really
Not
the
the
form,
form.
but in terms of the players which they have in their squad, you'd have to say for the second half of the season they would be in that top 4. And I think it's just coming down to the between a couple of sides who make up that last spot.
Yeah, I was only thinking when I say the form. I thought Power and Southwest Queensland seem to have a bit of form.
Yeah.
They do.
And Annerley have got the momentum.
They do.
And this is not necessarily the wins.
No, they've had some good...
As
playing again in the
Taringa
cup.
have got a bit of momentum from defending well, but haven't got points. So,
Should
but
we
I
go on
agree.
the table? Should we get onto the table?
Yeah, let's have a look at that.
So on top of the table, we've got the Gap on 36 points, Palm Beach on 34, UQ on 30.
Redlands on 28, East on 28, Olympic on 24, and Sunny Coast on 18. So there's our top 7.
Now, we were just speaking before the show. Now, Geoff's come up with a very interesting factoid. I'll call it a factoid, or a statistic if you'd like to call it. That top 5, you explain it, Geoff. You found it out.
Oh, just the top 5 haven't won away from home.
Against each other.
Yeah, against each other.
That is quite amazing. Now, it's a bit hard, you'd have to go looking for that because they haven't played home and away. So the Gap did not beat Redlands away from home.
Yep.
But they've beaten all the other teams at home. So Palm Beach, UQ and East.
So they have a tough away draw in the second round, won't they?
They do have a very, very tough start.
Have you seen the second
Yeah,
half?
I just got released just before.
Yeah. Okay.
So I think they've got the bye first up, and then the first 4 games in the second round are all away from home.
Okay. Palm Beach...
So that means any players they've got over in Brazil have time to get back.
Correct.
Oh, that's good.
Convenient. Palm Beach have lost to the Gap away, but they've beaten everyone else they played was at home. And Redlands, they drew with Redlands at home. UQ beat Easts at home. Sorry, no, that's not right.
Yep.
It is right.
Yeah, they beat us at home. Yep.
And
Thanks
they
for that.
beat Redlands at home. And Redlands have beaten the Gap at home. And Easts have...
We beat Redlands.
Redlands at home.
Correct.
Yeah. So that's quite amazing.
My
that is
head's
quite amazing.
spinning.
Yep.
So I think the second half of the season, if you're good away,
Yes.
you'll be more than likely in the top 4. If
Definitely.
you can't win away from home,
Which none of them can so far.
it's proven that, then you're in a bit of trouble. So
That's
home
quite
form
amazing.
is good, but you need to travel better than what the teams have.
Yeah. So does that mean just Sunny Coast have played a lot of the top 6 away?
Away from home. Yep.
So they're
Yes.
going to get a lot of them back up
played
at Sunny
Olympic
Coast.
at home, and they've beaten... Oh, sorry, they will play Olympic at home. And that's it. The others they played away, I think.
Yeah, because
Oh.
they've got UQ, Palm Beach, us, and Redlands all at home in the second round. So they've got 4 home games.
Wow.
So that can make a big difference.
Yeah.
Good. Olympic got 4 home games as well.
Wow.
Well, that's interesting.
Well, they beat UQ at home.
When
They
you say
lost-
home, does that mean they're playing at
Well, I
Olympic
don't know
or
if
at
they
Elder?
play here at Annerley or they play at Goodwin Park. I'm not really sure what they
I think the
class as
Mitchie
home.
girls were a bit confused about where they were playing last weekend because they'll play Annerley away at Olympic.
Yes. Well, that would have been
Well,
because of World Refugee Day. Masses of people on
Yeah.
Sunday. Masses of people. The bottom half of the table. Power on 15, Thunder on 14, Annerley on 13, Mitchie on 12, Souths on 7, Taringa on 4, Western Pride on none.
Yeah, so just looking at that, the top four in that plate seems fairly set.
Well, there's a 5-point gap.
You're keeping those points, so going in, it might just be the order in which they finish.
That's amazing.
Because there's
that
no
home
premiership
thing.
for that. It's just a final series. So, and if it's just a matter of finishing in the top four.
Yeah, no, I'd have to agree with that. It'd have to be a long South Taringa and Western Pride. Obviously, we'll have to get some major results to get that top four.
They'd almost have to go through the last 6 games undefeated
Yeah.
to get up there. All right, Geoff, predictions for the second half of the season. Can the Gap stay on top?
Once again, if their away form is good, they've got 4 away games against us, Olympic, Palm Beach and UQ. I'd have to say they're probably in the box seat at the moment, quickly followed by Palm Beach. But in saying that, Redlands, ourselves and UQ, I think that's where the competition is going to come from. For that
There's still a lot of, 6 games. You would have to pick up 8 points on the Gap to win the league.
easily.
In 6 games, is it a bit...
It's whoever wins
Can be
the
done.
most from now on,
Yep.
because there's not many games left, obviously, whoever wins the most from now on will probably win it. Because if the other teams other teams will be taking points off each other all the time.
Yep.
So if you win, you can guarantee someone else is helping you because...
Yeah, because there's not a week that you can sit there and go, okay, that's 3 points in the bag.
No.
And given what we just discovered about Sunny Coast Fire in the home games, they're going to pick up, I reckon they're going to pick up points.
Well, they're a chance of making the top 4, without a doubt.
Yeah.
And same with Olympic.
Well,
I
Olympic
think
and Sunny Coast both have a game in hand.
that's
They
10
play each
points.
other.
Against each other. Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, if Olympic wins that, they go on to 27, so 1 point behind East and Redlands. Now, Sunny Coast wins that, they go on 21.
Didn't Sunny Coast beat Olympic up there in the cup
Cup game, they did, yes.
So they'll take confidence out of that as well.
Bit of a window into what might be next year.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Well, if we're going to get that type of competition in the last 6 games where you've got 7 teams all looking to get in the finals.
Yes. Oh, well,
And that's what you want.
It's great.
Yeah, they're good.
Maybe they'll do the split again. I wouldn't mind. It's been exciting.
Speaking of catch-up games, the Sunshine Coast Olympic Games been postponed because of the Cup game also on that weekend.
Well, they're both all in the top 7 now, so it doesn't make a difference when they play it.
No,
as long as it's played.
And Redlands take on...
Thunder on the 19th of July,
Yeah.
so that's been scheduled now.
The Cup, that's what's on this weekend.
Well, before we talk about the Cup,
Go on then.
the Golden Boot. I think the Golden Boot's done and dusted, and I'm declaring Britt Whitfield the winner.
I don't think you can have a golden boot this year.
Well, that's what we said last year. It was just the first 13 games, whoever's on top is almost a winner. But
Well, Britt Whitfield must be that far ahead anyway.
well, she's got 25 goals from
13.
well, she's only
Not
played
11,
11 games
okay.
to be honest. So, and then the closest one is Lauren Brown and Tegan riding both on 18. So,
7 goals.
and Tegan's still got a game in hand, but I don't think she's going to pick up 7 goals by herself against South West Queensland Thunder.
No.
Doubtful.
Yeah.
She's a good striker, but not sure she's that's good.
Well, she's quick, you know. Quarterfinals of the Elaine Watson Cup this week. Big night down at East Friday night.
7:45, East take on Power. So I assume there's no game before.
There's junior BPL games.
Okay.
East versus Capalaba, I think under 12s.
Right. Anyway, so East take on Power in the Elaine Watson Cup.
I'm tipping East.
I think East will win this one.
Yeah, Geoff, who do you think?
I'll back us to go on to the semi-finals.
I don't know. He struggled to score 2 against Taringa.
I know, and Power, Britt Whitfield's on fire.
She is on fire.
And
We've
she
done nothing
can
but
score.
shoot all week, so I think we'll
Oh,
be
so
okay.
you got to let her in. You got to let. Okay. Fair enough.
Make sure those centre backs don't get too far apart because Britt Whitfield goes
As
track
a
it up the
centre back
middle.
myself, no, they won't be anymore.
On Saturday, 5 p.m, Taora Park, Southwest Queensland Thunder host Redlands. Tough road trip for Emily. She just takes up a coaching job. Has got to go on the road.
Yes. I think Redlands should get up, but this is the game you don't want to have people working at all. Because if they're working on the day, at any time, they won't be able to make the game. So,
Yeah.
Yeah. Redlands should win.
should we?
I'm going for Thunder.
Yeah, up in Toowoomba, you don't know what side Redlands are going to take up.
The only problem I think the Southwest Queensland Thunder may have is it's the start of the school holidays.
Yes.
Well, it should be okay.
The
It's
start.
The
First
start,
game.
But
The
it's
first
Saturday, and you all of a sudden you got like 2 players perhaps going away for holidays,
Yeah.
and
If it was next week, the start of the holidays, I think you should.
I think that'll be fine.
you should be okay.
I'm still tipping Redlands.
I'm going
I'll
for
back
Thunder.
Redlands extra time.
Extra time. Did they go to extra time or did they go straight to
They go
penalties?
straight to penalties.
Redlands and Pens.
Okay, fair enough.
Also on Saturday at 5 o'clock,
Good to
over
know.
at number
Go straight to
3.
Pens.
Number 3
Read
over.
the competition rules.
UQFC hosting Sunny Coast Fire.
UQ at home for me because of this home rule that Geoff has now found out.
I'll back UQ at home.
I think UQ as well. And then Saturday 7 p.m. at Elder Oval, Annerley at home to the Gap. So Annerley got the easy game.
Well, yeah.
Depends what team Rob puts out. He
Oh,
might
Rob-
use some of his BPL players.
He might.
He might. I don't think he will. I think
I think he's
I'm
going
still
to take.
backing the
I'm
Gap.
still
Don't forget,
taking Annerley seriously.
BPL have a game on the weekend. They don't have the weekend off.
Fair enough.
So
To your
Yeah.
second, it does.
Not here.
So you beat it before this game, probably.
Yes. Yes, we will.
Oh, well, you'll be down to watch the Gap lose to Annerley in the Elaine Watson Cup.
Backing the Gap.
As a sporting journalist, Greg, you need to make predictions that might come true.
Oh, okay. Okay. I think the Gap will probably win this, but I don't know.
I think the Gap will get over.
We
Annerley
haven't seen
by a couple.
much romance in the Cup for the women yet, and I'm tipping the romance to start here.
I think you're dreaming. I think the Gap will probably win this. Well, last time they played in the league, it was 3-0 to the Gap, and Annerley were quite defensive. I think it'll be similar. Now in a cup game, there's no points for drawing.
No.
So,
Yeah, I think in a penalty shootout, I'd tip Annerley.
well, what was interesting about the Gap was that they'd still had a number of players away, but they still won. They still created a lot of opportunities
Against
against
you.
They got a
the
lot
number
of
3
depth.
ranked team.
Yeah, they got a lot of depth over at the Gap, so it's not surprising.
Yeah. So I'm going for the Gap.
Okay.
Well, Geoff, that's it.
Thanks for coming down to Annerley. Lovely place.
No dramas.
now-
It's good to see the field and what conditions it's in before I come down on Saturday.
It's a good field. Bit dry, but good.
Now, you know how I always have something.
Yes, you
Just
do.
one thing,
Here
all
we go.
right? One thing. I was just waiting. If you'd picked this up, I would have had nothing.
Okay.
But guess who's the next Annerley product? Emily. No, she's not. I was going to kid you.
You was going to say, yeah, really?
No, she's ex-Redlands player.
Well, there you go.
So, there you go. I just thought I'd just throw that in for you, just to get you excited.
Oh,
But you didn't get excited.
no. That was lost on me. Okay. That's your lot for the week. We'll be back next week, I guess.
Thanks, Geoff.
Thanks, Geoff.
And
No
thanks for
problems.
listening.
Thanks, guys.